Hi, I'm Bridget Johnson. I'm the Director of Curriculum and Instruction for Moore County Schools, and this presentation is the digital content implementation. So over the course of the last couple of years, we have been piloting several resources in K-5, 6, 8, and 9, 12. And so this matrix that you see shows the different pilots that we have run and some of the places where we have put core content in place. So it's color-coded. If it is green on the matrix, that demonstrates where we have adopted a core content. We have something in place for our teachers and students. So for instance, in math, in kindergarten through fifth grade, we have Eureka or Engage in Y Math. In science, we have adopted this year the Discovery Ed textbook for our fifth grade teachers. And then you see it's green all the way across in middle school because we have established core content in all of our middle school classrooms. So where it is yellow is where we have some pilots running, which I'll talk about in just a minute what those pilots look like. And where it is pink, we are exploring our resources. We're looking at OERs, which is another name for Open Education Resources. We're actually a part of a statewide pilot for OER resources, which is exciting to be a part of that pilot. So we're continuing to explore what are the best options, what are the most fiscally responsible options that we can use, and also at the same time still meet our teacher and our students' needs. So some of the pilots that we have running, I referenced on the matrix that where there's yellow, we're piloting some things. So in English language arts at the elementary level, we have some pilots of a product called School-Wide Readers and Writers Workshop. We also have some pilots of Letterland, which is a phonics-based instruction in kindergarten through second grade. We have several pilots of that running, and we're considering that for future adoption. Discovery Education, we have put in a Math 1 textbook as a pilot at all of our high schools. That is starting just as we speak. And so we're looking to see, does that textbook meet our teacher and students' needs in the Math 1 courses at the high school level? And then, as I said, we're a pilot district with DPI. I believe there are 7 districts across the state that are a part of that pilot. And so we're excited to be working in conjunction with DPI to find the best open education resources that are free, but are also aligned to the standards and meet our student and teachers' needs. So some next steps, as you may be aware, we have developed some framework teams. These teams are outlining what does core instruction look like in kindergarten through fifth grade and in 6th through 12th grade. Those framework teams are made up of 30 educators, mostly classroom teachers, some administrators, some district office staff. And so they're working together to say, this is what we expect core instruction to look like, and these are the resources that we think would be best fit to match those research-based instructional strategies. So that's a great source of input is from that team. They're able to give us a lot of feedback on what's working, what's not working, what we might need to consider for pilots in the future, and maybe even future adoption. Of course, we noted the pilots that are running, we take that very seriously. We're not going to just adopt something without having tried it in our classrooms and made sure that it works. The high school open education resources, and then we've got an ongoing feedback loop with our teachers through our teacher advisory council, through our summer curriculum workshops. We run 2 weeks over the summer where we pull in approximately 100 teachers over the course of the 2 weeks. And we use their expertise to guide us and to help us decide on things that are upcoming. And so we'll be using those teachers this summer to look at resources and to figure out where do we need to go next in order to meet their needs. And as I said earlier, our framework design teams, that's another place where we get a lot of feedback. So we're not making these decisions on our own. We're using our teachers because they are the experts in the field, and we want to make sure that we're valuing their opinion. So when we think about financially, what does all of this cost? The list on the PowerPoint here, the slide, these are this running total of things that we have spent money on this year out of the textbook fund. So Sand Hills Community College, we have an agreement with them that our students that go to Sand Hills for courses, we help cover the cost of the textbooks, and we have that worked out with Sand Hills, and that's approximately $60,000 a year. So that comes straight out of our textbook fund. We have video content, video streaming content for all grades. It's a district license, and it costs approximately $60,000 a year. So all of our educators are able to pull up video resources through Discovery Ed. I mentioned that DE textbook pilot that we're running. We have some current textbook replacement. Sometimes we just need to replace books that are worn out. And when we need to do that, it obviously costs money. So approximately $15,000 this year has been spent on just replacement of old textbooks. GradPoint is something we use at the Community Learning Center at Pinckney, and that is for credit recovery. And so that comes out of our textbook funds as well, because that is one of their core resources that they use. Gibbs Smith is an 8th grade social studies text. For all the other grade levels in middle school, we have Discovery Education as our social studies text. But we found that the 8th grade text for DE did not align with North Carolina standards. So we went with a different product just for 8th grade, and that was Gibbs Smith. So that's why that cost is just for 8th grade. Rosetta Stone, we brought to the school board last month, a contract for Rosetta Stone. We use that in various ways. Some for new English learners, some for students who are trying to learn a new language, such as a second language. And then sometimes we use it in our AIG classrooms to accelerate some of our students. So we have a variety of ways that we use that content, but it is a digital resource that comes out of our textbook fund. Our AP textbooks, as we add AP courses and as we continue to push that program, there has to be a resource to go with it. So this past year, we have spent $139,000 replacing AP textbooks or purchasing new AP textbooks for new courses. And then finally, Renaissance Learning. That's our STAR 360, our universal screener that we use in all kindergarten through 8th grade classrooms, which helps us with the implementation of the multi-tiered system of support, or MTSS. That universal screener is costly, but we're finding that it has great value to our teachers in helping each of their students and finding all of their students' strengths and weaknesses. If we move into the textbook management fund spreadsheet, we can see that we've had some rollover. We've been building up this fund over time in the event that we would need to make a large purchase for our kindergarten through 5th grade English language arts. People may or may not remember that about 6 years ago we purchased Journeys, which was a textbook series for all kindergarten through 5th grade teachers. It was very costly, and we knew that that 6-year contract was coming up. So over the course of the last few years, we've been rolling this textbook fund over to try and accumulate some funds in the event that we would need to purchase another series similar to Journeys. However, with the advice of our framework team, we have found that there are other resources we can use, such as Letterland for phonemic awareness and phonics instruction. There are other resources that we can use that are not as costly. So we are looking at not adopting a large textbook series like we did in previous years, but instead using other resources that we believe will be better and will better suit our students' needs. So if you look in the 2018-2019 column, you'll see $517,000. That's approximately how much we've spent on that previous slide that I was just talking through. That's the total of how much we've spent over the course of this year. We received from the state $493,000, and that is based on our ADM. That third row is local textbook allotment. In previous years, as part of our budget, we had asked for $500,000 to be added, local money to be added, to help us offset the cost of textbooks. At this time, we are not asking for those funds. We feel like we have saved over the last couple of years, and we are in pretty good shape as far as this textbook fund goes. That's not to say that there are not needs, but we are not going to press the gas until we know exactly what our needs are and how we can use those funds responsibly. So we're not asking for an extra local fund. We're taking a minimalist approach, and we are using our funds wisely. So the subtotal then of how much the state has given us plus the local allotment, which is zero, is still $493,000 on that fourth line of the spreadsheet. And so that's a difference of $23,000 based off what we received from the state and based off what we spent. We'll be dipping into our textbook fund $23,000, but that still leaves us with $1,326,000. So we are still in really good shape. But as I said, we have needs for sure, and we're piloting these materials. And when we definitely decide on them, it's going to cost money. And so if we looked long range at this plan, at the spreadsheet, we would see that the textbook fund begins to dwindle pretty quickly as we put these pilot programs in place. So with that, we'll head back to the PowerPoint. That concludes where we are with our textbook management fund. We look forward to working with our teachers and finding the best resources and making sure that our teachers and students have exactly what they need. Thank you.